Hello students, welcome to Zoology Classroom. This is L. Mahesh, Assistant Professor of Zoology from Tara Government College, Sangareddy. In today's class, we are going to discuss about Protozoa general characters. This topic comes under BSc first year Zoology subject in first semester. Before entering into the topic, let us know about what is Protozoa. Protozoa is a phylum in animal kingdom. So we know that Robert Whittaker has classified all living organisms into 5 kingdoms, namely Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae or Metaphyta, Animalia or Metazoa. So according to this 5 kingdom classification, all living organisms have been classified into these 5 kingdoms based on their characteristics. In Animalia or Metazoa kingdom, all multicellular animals have been put under this kingdom. All these are multicellular animals. We know the major characteristic feature of animals that they cannot synthesize their own food on their own. That means they depend on other organisms for their food needs. In other words, we can say that animals are heterotrophs. In another kingdom called Metaphyta or Plantae, all multicellular plants have been placed under that kingdom. So in this Plantae kingdom, all multicellular plants which can synthesize their food on their own have been placed. That means all these are multicellular autotrophs. And in fungi kingdom also containing multicellular organisms, but it is not completely like plants or it is not completely like animals. In nutrition, fungi are like animals. That means they cannot synthesize their food on their own. That means they are heterotrophs. So in that way, they are like animals. But like plants, they have cell wall outside of their cells. So in some features, they are like plants. In some features, they are like animals. That's why it was not possible for the scientists to put these, to place these fungi either into a plant kingdom or animal kingdom. That's why they have been separated and they have been assigned a separate kingdom level, that is third kingdom fungi. And remaining all organisms are unicellular organisms. All unicellular organisms have been classified into 2 kingdoms based on their nuclear characteristic features. The organisms which are not having a real nucleus have been placed under Monera kingdom. So in these organisms, they will not have a definite nucleus. That means their chromosomes are open or naked. They are not encircled by a nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. So all these are called as prokaryotes, and examples for this Monera are all bacteria. And next kingdom is Protista. In Protista also, unicellular organisms only have been placed, but the difference between Monera and Protista is that Protistans are eukaryotes. That means even though they are unicellular like bacteria or monerans, they are having a definite nucleus. That means their chromosomes or their nucleic material are encircled by a definite nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. Such type of organisms are considered as eukaryotes. So these protistans are the first eukaryotes, and after the protistans, the fungi, plantae, and animalia have evolved on this planet Earth, all these are undoubtedly eukaryotes. So in this way, Protozoa actually, the word Protozoa came from a Greek word, two Greek words, protos and zoos. So proto means first and zoa means animal. So these are the first animals that evolved on this planet Earth. That's why they got this name Protozoa. So these protozoans are unicellular. Some scientists are considering that there are some multicellular protozoans also, but mostly these are unicellular organisms and they are eukaryotes. So as they are unicellular and eukaryotes, they have placed under Protista kingdom according to 5 kingdom classification. But whereas coming to the zoology subjects, as protozoans are also having characters like animals, so that's why under zoology subject, we will not only study about this metazoans, we will also study about protozoans. Why? Because after all, these protozoans only in the later course of time, they have gave rise to the multicellular animals or metazoans. So this protozoa, it consists a large group of about 65,000 species. Most of these protozoans are free-living animals, and they do not cause any harm to the organisms mostly. And they inhabit in water and soil containing moisture. But a few protozoans are pathogenic in nature, and they live as parasites on humans and other animals also. Thus, they will cause a lot of diseases or infections to these human beings and other animals. The characteristics of protozoans, and as we have already told, as we have already discussed, all these protozoans are unicellular organisms, and they are having a fully functional cells, and they live freely. Some are parasitic and some are symbiotic organisms also present in this phylum. And protozoans are chemoheterotrophs, so they depend on other organisms for their food needs or for their energy needs. And they are motile, that means they can move from one place to another place. This is one more important feature of animals. In this function of movement, some organelles help them for this motility or mobility. Those organelles are called as locomotory organelles. And examples for these locomotory organelles are flagella and cilia. Apart from this flagella and cilia, pseudopodia also present in some protozoans to help in this motility or mobility. Coming to morphology of protozoans, protozoans they are considered as a protoplasm level of organization. So protozoans are having protoplasm level of organization. Here we have to understand one thing about this level of organization. So based on the complexity of the body structure, all animals are said to have different types of levels of organizations. So what is a level of organization? So organization is telling us about the structure of the organism. So we know that all living organisms, uh, they must perform various cellular functions or various life processes. Without those life processes, they cannot survive. So that's why only those processes are called as life processes, like nutrition, like respiration, and excretion and transportation of materials in the body, and reproduction. Without having all these processes in the body, organisms cannot survive. So that's why these processes are called as, these activities are called as life processes. So to perform these different life processes, organisms are having different types of structures or different types of parts in their bodies. Whereas in our case, in our case means mammals, not only in mammals, in all chordates, and in higher level of invertebrates also, they are having different types of organ systems to perform various life processes. For example, for the functioning of nutrition activity, they are having digestive system, and for respiration function they are having a respiratory system, and for excretion function they are having a excretory system, and for transportation of materials function they are having a vascular system, blood vascular system. And for reproduction purpose, we know all these organisms are having reproductive system. So the various life processes are performed by different types of organ systems. That's why all these higher level of animals are said to be what this organ system level of organization. So all these higher level of animals are having organ system level of organization. Coming to some lower level of organisms uh, Cnidarians, coelenterates. In those coelenterates, they are not having any organs. They are just having tissues. So they are having a couple of types of tissues, and these tissues only perform various life processes. So that's why these cnidarians are said to have tissue level of organization in their bodies. Whereas the poriferans, that means sponges, they are having different types of cells in their bodies, but these cells are not evolved or developed into tissues. So these cells are there, many cells are there, but they are not developed into tissues. So these different types of cells help in the functioning of different types of life processes. That's why poriferans are said to have cell level of or cellular level of organization. Coming to these protozoans, they are just having a single cell in their whole body. So as they are having only one cell, all the activities must be performed, must be occurred inside that single cell only. And we know that inside the cell membrane, the liquid is considered as a cytoplasm or protoplasm. So all these activities are occurring in the protoplasm of the single cell. That's why protozoans are said to have protoplasm level of organization. So in this way, this is very, very important feature. Protozoans are exhibiting protoplasm level of organization, and they are like eukaryotic multicellular animal cells, and all major cell organelles like nucleus, mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum. So all these major cell organelles are present in protozoan cells also, and their cell organelles are highly specialized for feeding and reproduction and movement. So as they are having only one cell, some of the organelles are very specialized for different types of activities or functions. And the cytoplasm of these protozoans is divided into two layers. One outer layer is called ectoplasm, and the inner layer is called endoplasm. So this is a typical, very well-known example of protozoan. We call it as slipper animalcule. Yes, you people are right. It is paramecium. So in this paramecium, the uh, the inside of this blue color one, light blue color one, and here in this part, thick blue color one, all this the liquid is considered as, is called as protoplasm or cytoplasm. This cytoplasm is classified or divided into two layers. One is outer layer. Outer layer is very, very thin layer. It is below immediately this plasma membrane or cell membrane. So a thin layer which is immediately below the cell membrane inside this organism body is called as ectoplasm, and this ectoplasm is very, very thick in nature. So the outer very thick and very thin. Thick, it means it is having a viscosity, and very thin layer is considered as a ectoplasm. And remaining the inner one, it is mostly liquid-like structure. It is considered as endoplasm. So in this way, the cytoplasm of these organisms is divided into ectoplasm and endoplasm. So, and the ectoplasm helps in movement, in feeding, and in protection also. Endoplasm houses all major cell organelles like nucleus, mitochondria, food vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome. So all these organelles are placed in this endoplasm. Some protozoans, they have special appendages or special organelles called flagellae and cilia. These flagellae and cilia, they help in the movement of these organisms. And freshwater protozoans, they have some special cell organelle called contractile vacuole. And these contractile vacuoles help in the expelling of water, expelling of unwanted waste material from the body. In this way, contractile vacuoles may be regarded as excretory organelles of these freshwater protozoans. The shape may retain constant in ciliates, but in some other organisms like rhizopods, like in amoeba, shape will be changing constantly. And these rhizopods, they are having a different type of locomotory organelle called pseudopodia. So in this diagram, we can clearly see that ectoplasm and endoplasm. So this is the ectoplasm, and the inner one is this granular one is endoplasm. So the size of the protozoans varies very greatly. Some are having just 3 micrometers in length, and some other bigger protozoans are having a length of 300 micrometers also. A few ciliates and amoebae are larger enough to be seen with naked eyes. That means they are about 4 to 5 mm in length. So with naked eye, we can see them. And remaining protozoans cannot be seen with naked eye. We have to take the help of microscopes to see them. Except sporozoites, all types of protozoa are motile either through flagella or cilia or pseudopodia. So some protozoans which come under a sporozoa group, these sporozoans they cannot move. Remaining all protozoans, they can show movement with the help of flagella, cilia, or pseudopodia. And some of these protozoans, they consist of eye spots, and this eye spot can detect the change in light intensity. So, and they respond to light, and they will learn things by trial and error with the help of these eye spots. So the eye spots can be seen in this organism, and eye spots are, this is also paramecium, and eye spots are also present in euglena also. So nutrition, coming to nutrition, most protozoan feed on dead plants and animal debris, while some like tropozoites feed on bacteria and algae. Some parasitic protozoans, they feed on the fluids and the tissues of their host, especially the plasma and blood cells of their host. For example, this malarial parasite, Plasmodium, feeds on our RBC and plasma. Some protozoa live in symbiotic relationship with other plants and animals also. And coming to reproduction in Protozoa, Protozoa can reproduce their offspring by both sexual and asexual methods. Asexual methods of reproduction are budding, binary fission, schizogony or multiple fission. Sexual methods include conjugation and gametogony. So schizogony is one type of asexual reproduction method. This method is also called as multiple fission. So in this schizogony or multiple fission, what happens is that first of all, the nucleus undergoes many divisions. As a result of these multiple divisions, many small nuclei are formed. And after the nucleic divisions are completed later, around these small nuclei, small portions of cytoplasms will be concentrated around each nucleus, and then the protozoa cell divides into many daughter cells. In this way, a single mother cell gives rise to many daughter cells. This type of asexual reproduction is called as schizogony and multiple fission. We are aware of this thing in the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax in our RBCs and in our hepatocytes. So this is the diagrammatic representation of schizogony. So in this schizogony, this is the first one is the mother cell. In this mother cell, the nucleus, this blue color one is nucleus. First of all, this nucleus undergoes multiple divisions. So first one division, second division, third division, like this many divisions will take place in the nucleus of the mother cell. As a result, many nuclei will be formed. So around this nuclei, later what happens, once this nucleic divisions are finished, around each nucleus, some portion of protoplasm or cytoplasm and some piece of plasma membrane are encircled around these small nuclei or small nuclei. So around each nucleus, some portion of cytoplasm and a piece of plasma membrane will surround, and they will make them into small cells, data cells, and these data cells are called as merozoites. So in this way, through schizogony, a parent cell gives rise to multiple data cells. And in budding also, this slide is not prepared, but in budding also, what happens, one mother cell gives rise to many daughter cells, and the body of the mother cell, at the periphery of the mother cell, a protuberance takes place, a swelling takes place at one end of the body of the mother cell. Later, this swelling increases inside. This swelling, it will receive some portion of the cytoplasm from its mother cell, and the nucleus of the mother cell will be divided by mitosis, and one nuclei will remain in the mother cell, and other nuclei enters into this developing bud. So in this way, the bud will develop finally. Once the bud is fully developed, it can cleave off from the mother cell and it will lead an individual life. So in this budding process, mother cell continues to survive, and daughter cells also, they also come into existence. Whereas in binary fission, as a result of binary fission, mother cell lost its existence, and it gives rise to many daughter cells. In schizogony also, the same thing happens. In binary fission, it is also equivalent to schizogony. The only difference is that in binary fission, one mother cell will be divided into two daughter cells. So in this binary fission, the nucleus will be divided into two nuclei, daughter nuclei, And once the nuclear division is finished, later cytoplasmic division also will take place. The cytoplasmic division is considered as a cytokinesis. Once the cytokinesis is finished, was a single mother cell lost its existence, and it leads to, or it gives rise to, two daughter cells. So these are the three different types of asexual reproduction methods that can be seen in protozoans. Coming to sexual reproduction, and in sexual reproduction, conjugation uh, is one method and gametogony is another method. So in conjugation, two different protozoa, they come together and they come in contact and they will exchange their genetic material or nuclei. So once the nuclei exchange is taken place later, the two protozoans, they will separate and later they will give rise to many individuals. So in this way, conjugation is the purpose of conjugation is to exchange the genetic materials. It helps in the process. In this process, the organisms, they will gain the rejuvenation. So for continuously, the protozoans, if they continue to practice asexual reproduction methods, they will lose vigor. To regain the lost vigor, they need to undergo the sexual reproduction. So through sexual reproduction, the organism will gain a new material, genetic material from other conjugate. So in this way, again they will become rejuvenated, and again they can survive for some more time. And in gametogony, it is the union of two gametes. So in this process, the mother cell forms gametes. The gametes of different parent cells, they will unite to form a single zygote. So in this process, this is also equivalent to sexual reproduction in higher animals, but the difference is that in these organisms, the mother cell will be converted into gamete. Whereas in the case of multicellular animals, some of the cells in the reproductive organs are developed into gametes. So in this way, gametogony also is a kind of sexual reproduction method. So coming to another life processes called excretion. So for this excretion of waste materials, so for this excretion of waste materials, as we have already discussed, the freshwater protozoans, they are having contractile vacuoles. So through these contractile vacuoles, they will expel the excess of water, excess of salts, and excess of any other material and unwanted materials like nitrogenous waste materials from the body. So contractile vacuoles are present only in freshwater protozoans, whereas the marine protozoans, they will retain the mostly the waste materials in their body to increase their concentration of their cytoplasm. Why? Because the outer seawater is very concentrated water. So in order to maintain a osmotic condition with the external seawater, they need to have a lot of salts in their cytoplasm. So for that purpose, mostly marine water protozoans does not require to perform the excretory function. And coming to another life process, very important one, that is respiration. So the purpose of respiration is to exchange the respiratory gases. That means the organism has to take oxygen from the surrounding medium, and it has to expel the unwanted carbon dioxide produced in the cellular respiration in this cell. So in these protozoans, as they are very simpler and single-celled animals, they will exchange the gases through their cell surface only. So it is very, very easy for them. So across the concentration gradients and across the partial pressures of the different partial pressure gradients of the oxygen and carbon dioxide, oxygen enters into the body from the surrounding water. Carbon dioxide leaves the body of the protozoan uh, uh, to enter into the surrounding water. So in this way, they do not require any special respiratory organelles and respiratory organs. And for the movement, as we have already told, some organisms are having flagellae, and some are having cilia, and some are having pseudopodia. Whereas some group of protozoans, they do not move. They will not have any kind of locomotory organelle, and they are called as sporozoans. So in this way, the protozoans with a single cell, they are able to perform all the life processes required for them, and they are able to survive. And some of the protozoans, they cause diseases in human beings. Some of the diseases and the causative agents are listed in this slide. Malaria disease is caused by Plasmodium. In Plasmodium genera, a couple of species are there. Of them, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium bovale, Plasmodium vivax, and Plasmodium malaria are the four important ones which can cause malaria disease in the human beings. And the giardiasis, also called as diarrhea. So it is caused by Giardia intestinalis. This Giardia intestinalis is also called as a grand old man of intestine. And another one, toxoplasmosis. This causes immune deficiency in the patient. This toxoplasmosis disease is caused by Toxoplasma gondii. And cryptosporidiosis is another disease caused by Cryptosporidia. And sleeping sickness, it is very common in African continents, African countries. This is caused by trypanosoma. And another one is leishmaniasis. It is also called as Kala-Azar disease. This disease caused by Leishmania genera of protozoans. So with this, we have finished the general characters of protozoans. In next class, we will meet with another topic. Thank you.